and welcome to our channel, or welcome back to our channel if you've already subscribed. So since launching this channel at the end of last year, off the back of our own wedding video, we have been inundated with so many questions asking for advice and tips on the big day, loads and loads of questions. So
we thought it would be an amazing opportunity for us to make some videos that kind of answer the questions that you guys have been asking.
Also worth noting that obviously coronavirus has been devastating for the wedding industry, but you can't beat love. People are still falling in love, getting engaged, planning weddings. So, even if it's going to be a low-key affair with 15 people, or you're planning something a little bit bigger for next year or year after or even later than that, there's always going to be weddings. Should we just get going?
Yeah, let's go for it.
So here are our top 10 tips for planning a wedding.
Number 1, pick your season.
You've just got engaged, the excitement has settled, and then you've got the daunting task of actually planning your wedding. And I think sort of picking the time of year that you want to get married from sort of day one will really, really help you narrow down the types of venues that you end up going to see.
For example, if you were looking for a wedding sort of spring, summertime, and you want to be outdoors, then you really need to be looking at your venues and see if they've got those outside areas, somewhere where we can be out on the lawns. But equally, if you're looking for more of a winter wedding, sort of inside, nice staircases where there's going to be a Christmas tree.
Look at Christmas trees like up the stairs.
Exactly.
But it just means your imagination can already get going. So if you pick your season, you go to these venues, you can really start to sort of imagine how it's going to look. So that would be our first tip.
So number 2 would be to book your supplies early.
Yeah, so I found lots and lots of help online with sort of timelines of like when you should book things. And to be completely honest, I thought they were all quite late. So many would say, book your supplies of 12 months in advance, 6 months in advance. We visited some venues that were booked out for 2 years. So our advice would be, it's never too early.
I'd say never too early to book it.
We were so lucky that we had the most amazing suppliers, from our photographer, sort of the food, the music, the venue. We've put a link in the description to all of the suppliers that we used.
And that is quite key with suppliers, that you want to go for the ones that kind of go that little extra mile. They really want your day to be perfect. They went above and beyond to make sure that everything ran really smoothly.
And for example, with the music, we went with Vince Freeman. Can't recommend him enough. He was phenomenal. But he was just so prepared to go that extra mile. He wasn't precious about timings on the night. He just wanted to fit the music in around your day, and he went above and beyond. He played for so long, whereas before Vince, we actually contacted a band who were adamant that they wanted to stop bang on 11 p.m. and they weren't willing to go a minute over. I sort of understand that, but equally weddings don't often run to time. You need to work with suppliers that are willing to be flexible, so I think it's really important to get that vibe from a supplier before you go ahead and book them.
Whilst we're on this topic, it is so important to contact the registrars early and make sure you get them booked in, because we obviously had a humanist ceremony, but we needed to have a legal ceremony as well.
Yeah, so this only applies if you're having a civil ceremony.
Yeah, make sure you contact them early, because a lot of the times the councils or the towns will only have one person and they'll do multiple weddings in one day.
We actually had to plan our entire day around the registrar's availability. It was actually like 3:30 till 4. It was such a tight window.
Yeah.
We had to plan our entire day around it, because at 4 o'clock they left us and they went to another wedding. So that would be sort of at the top of the list when booking sort of suppliers, important people for the day, is if you're having a civil ceremony, book the registrar.
Tip number 3 is stationery.
Invitations was sort of an area that I found quite stressful, because I could not believe how expensive they can be. And before you know it, you have eaten into your budget for some pieces of paper. One thing that we really wanted to do with our stationery is make our invites and everything, our communication with our guests, as digital as possible. And then you found a fantastic app, didn't you?
Yeah, there's an app called Appy Couple, and it does literally everything for you. You can have like a welcome message, people can leave messages to you.
We uploaded our engagement photos
We
as
did,
well,
yeah.
didn't we? Oh, we had little, you can add like biographies for all the key people, so bridesmaids and groomsmen, so all of your guests can go on this app and sort of see and get to know your wedding party a little bit better, which we really
cool.
liked. So we actually paid, I think it was around £50 for the service, and you get this amazing website where you can communicate with your guests, check in your RSVPs, your dietary requirements. It couldn't have been simpler. So instead of sending out save the dates, which is a chunk of money in itself, we ended up having this app, and then we just sent out invitations. So after the invitations have gone out, so that's one bit of stationery out the way. You've then got on the day stationery.
A lot of the stuff which is like the fine details, which actually I think people notice, they're the things that you can do yourself.
You can save so much money. If you think about it, you've got your place names, you've got your menus, your order of the day. So essentially what we did is we designed everything on our laptops. So, there's so many programs out there. We'll put a link to a couple that we found really useful in the description if you are creative and you want nice fonts, that kind of thing. And then once we had everything in place, we just contacted a local print service and said, give us your nicest paper, how much is it going to cost to just literally print these?
Yeah.
And it was so much cheaper than going to a company and for them to design it all up and then print it for you. And then we got really personal with our place names as well.
We wanted to be slightly different with our place names. We thought it'd be a really nice idea to have a Polaroid of every single guest in front of them with either a picture of us together with that person.
Like a nice memory
exactly.
of us with
when
the guest,
we were younger.
So that's another reason why I wanted to go digital. We just wanted it to be really easy for everyone. You kind of know they end up in the bin eventually. Which is such a shame. But oh well.
That is the reality.
Life. At least it's paper and it's recyclable.
Exactly.
Number 4. Budgets. Oh my goodness. Budgets are stressful, aren't they?
They are. Absolutely.
If you can get on top of your budget from day one and decide early on who's going to pay for what and help with what, is your budget £5,000? Is it £55,000? Like, have a conversation as a couple and set your budget early.
And always make sure you add a little bit on. There's always going to be extras that you aren't going to know about, even 2 weeks before the wedding. So make sure you have that little, 25% extra.
Yeah.
Budget that in.
And
don't use up 25%
don't spend
of
it.
Yeah.
Because we were getting married in the summer, but we're getting married in England, so rain is inevitable.
Yeah.
We had planned for rain. We'd got umbrellas, we got a little bit of a sort of canopy, but we decided with 2 weeks to go that we were going to err on the side of caution and book a stretch tent over the ceremony area. So even though we were getting married outside in the beautiful gardens of Holywell Hall, we ended up putting a stretch tent over the guests. And boy, was that a sensible decision. Had we not gone with sort of a wet weather plan, and like the stretch tent, was another £1,000 at the end. So yeah, set your budget, but add on 25%. Don't spend it and keep it for emergencies.
And also, as a bonus, if you don't use it, then at least, you can spend it on
honeymoon. But one thing that helped us massively is that we dragged in our friends to help, didn't we?
Yeah, we've got some very talented friends, as everyone does, and they do want to get involved.
Yeah.
At least that's what we were telling ourselves.
Please help us.
People do want to get involved and help out on your big day. Take advantage of that.
Absolutely, because it really, really does help. You'd look online at Prosecco trucks, photo booths, and they cost an absolute fortune. They're very, very nice to have, don't get me wrong, but they cost a fortune. So we thought, well, how do we get sort of creative with the photo booth idea? So instead, we set up a video booth.
Yeah.
And all we needed,
I think we bought a ring light.
It was like a ring light from Amazon for 70 quid or something.
We had a nice sofa. People would just walk in, sit in front of the camera. It was already rolling, leave us a message.
And as the night went on, and people got more and more drunk and tipsy, they kept on going back to the video booth and recording these hilarious messages. We've got them all like just acting like idiots.
Yeah, it was a nice idea. We actually looked online, because we love to get video stuff. We looked online to get a company in to do it, and it's just ridiculous how much people charge for it. And because it's in the wedding industry, it's even more than normal. Get yourself a clicker for a normal camera. Someone's got a camera in your family, and have a little tag that says "click me," click it, takes a picture.
But that's our advice. So, set your budget, think outside the box. Yes, use Pinterest and Instagram to get all of these ideas together, and then have a really, really good think about what you can do yourself, how creative you can get, what friends you can rope in, and leave that 25% for the week off.
Tip number 5, wedding planner / on the day coordinator.
If you want a wedding planner and you've got the budget, takes all the stress away, fantastic. If your budget doesn't stretch to a wedding planner, I would highly recommend trying to work the budget to factor in an on-the-day coordinator. Last thing you want as a bride or groom is to be getting ready for your big day and worrying if things are running to time, or the flowers are all in place. You just don't, you want to hand over that responsibility. So we ended up working with Katrina Otter, who...
She was amazing.
Oh my God. I mean, we'd adopt her if we could.
We were very lucky to have Katrina Otter.
And Cara and the rest of the team, they were all phenomenal.
They were great. They had it all covered, and we didn't have to worry at all.
They would welcome the guests, take coats, tell them where to go, keep everyone to time.
No day is going to run perfectly as you planned. You have certain things at 3 o'clock, they're not going to happen at 3 o'clock, but they're there to roughly steer it in the right direction.
So if you can factor in a coordinator instead of a wedding planner, which is a much, much bigger chunk of the budget, we would highly, highly recommend it. And we'll put the link to Katrina Otter's website in the description box. Tip number 6 is a really, really quick one. Get personal. Look at your entire day. I know we've touched on it already, but if there are any elements in the day that you can make really, really personal, you should. So from the place names that we did...
Yeah.
to the wedding's thank you musical, which is probably taking it a little bit to the extreme. But one thing that we did that was really personal is we decided not to do table favours. So I think table favours are actually my biggest pet peeve, because I think couples can spend hundreds of pounds on these beautiful little table gifts, but quite often they're too big to fit in a bag, like a clutch bag. So many get left behind and end up going to waste, and it's such a shame, isn't it?
Yeah, I personally think they're such a waste of money.
But what we decided to do instead was, when we had the cheese board come out in the evening, grapes, chutneys, cheese at sort of like 11 o'clock or something, Jamie's mum keeps bees, which is so sweet. So she actually did these mini honey pots and put a personalised label on these little mini honey pots, really tiny little glass ones.
Again, it was the wedding planners laid them out as people were leaving the marquee right at the end of the evening, basically to go get taxis, and they were just there on the side to take away, which is nice.
Yeah.
Number 7 is plan your photos. When it comes to the photos, this was one bit for me. I just feel as though sometimes it feels like it's taking forever. And also, if you're not organised, it will take forever.
Yes.
So beforehand, we wrote down exactly what photos we wanted, because there's grandparents there who love to have photos.
These are group photos that we're talking about, sorry. I have a big family. We had quite a lot of guests there. We have loads and loads of different friendship groups. We wrote down a list. I think I had 20 photos, between 15 and 20 photos.
Something like that,
ranging from bride, groom, bride's parents, to bride's university friends, to groom's university friends, and I think there was probably 20 groups. We did all of the names, put all the names down, and gave it to Tarzan.
Yeah,
for those of you who don't know Tarzan, watch the wedding video and then you'll understand.
As well as having the wedding planners, we actually put a lot of our trust in Tarzan, my friend George. So when it came to the photos, we gave him the list and he organised everything. So the next group were waiting whilst the photo was being taken. So when they went to have a photo, the next group were getting ready. And I would really recommend doing that, because otherwise it will take quite a while.
And we had another groomsman deliver us canapes as we were having the photos taken. So not only did we have George getting everyone ready, the other groomsman was like delivering us canapes, so we could eat, we could drink, we could take the photos, and the group shots were done in about 30 minutes.
Something like that, yeah.
It was really, really quick. So yes, tip number 7 would be plan your photos.
Number 8, probably for the people who are having weddings in England, but plan for rain. Have a wet weather contingency.
We had glorious sunshine all day. It was 23 degrees. But my goodness, we had 2 downpours for literally like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
It was so quick, but they were torrential. A black cloud just literally came, dumped, disappeared, and then it was gorgeous sunshine for the rest of the day. Had we not prepared for wet weather with loads of umbrellas, a stretch tent, we had pagodas outside sort of the main drinks area, it was still really warm and people could all just huddle inside for that 5 minutes and stay dry. So please, if you are getting married in England and you want an outdoor wedding, it's inevitable. You're just going to have to plan for rain.
We were right in the middle of summer and it still tipped it down.
It happens.
For a few minutes, but still.
It happens. Coming in at number 9 is our top tips on Honeymoon and Honeymoon.
We took a mini moon after the wedding. So we got married on the Saturday. The Sunday we actually had a barbecue with our closest family. And then on the Monday we ended up going down to Cornwall, which was amazing. Had the most amazing weather down there. And then after that week, we then had 3 months.
Yeah.
And we planned a honeymoon in October time to go to Hawaii and Japan.
What we didn't want is for the wedding and the honeymoon to just disappear together all in the space of sort of 2 or 3 weeks.
And financially, doing them all in the same time is crazy.
You take a massive hit. If you can, use an American Express or something similar that you can sort of gather points. I've been saving for years, hoping that one day we'd want to go on sort of a dream honeymoon. And it got to the point when we came to booking Hawaii, I could book business class flights, which was such a treat, so special for the honeymoon. And I think it was £600 each, so like £1,200 to fly business class to Hawaii, and then we hopped to Japan and then Japan home. So that whole round trip was like £1,200, which really isn't that bad for like a special business class.
Not. If you're going to have a bit of time between your wedding and your honeymoon, make sure you do something straight after the wedding though, because we were told by quite a few people that you kind of get the wedding blues and like everything happens so quickly. It's like a high, this day's amazing, or the weekend, and then it's just like back to work. And they're like, make sure you do something. So that's why we took the little mini moon
to Cornwall
and had a week down on the beach and surfed and did that sort of stuff. And then we had time to save up again to do our big trip. Yeah,
we had nice like 3 months to sort of save up again and then do everything we wanted to in Hawaii and Japan. Hawaii, by the way, check out our Hawaii vlogs if you're looking for honeymoon inspiration, because best place on earth. Without doubt, best place on earth.
Finally,
we've almost finished our wine and we've got to number 10.
We have.
This is perfect timing.
Yeah. And the last one is rehearse, rehearse, rehearse.
If the venue allows you to, bring all of the important people together. By important, I mean people who've got maybe a role on the day, so your groomsmen, your bridesmaids, father of the bride, etc. If you can meet the day before the wedding and run through all of your timings from start to finish, it's so helpful, because then everybody knows what you're doing. My dad and I had quite a long dress and I had to get up a couple of stairs walking down the aisle. So I practiced with my dad back and forth, because my dad was quite nervous, because the dress is long as well. You're not aware, but you're like looking at the floor, and then it takes a bridesmaid or a groomsman to say, guys, did you know you were looking at the floor the whole time and you weren't smiling? Because you're thinking so hard about sort of just getting to the end of the aisle that you're not taking everything in. But having that rehearsal time before was just so helpful to sort of iron all of those things out.
And it allows you to sort of take in the actual day. You know what's going to happen. You know you're walking to the top. You've done it. You practiced it. You know where everyone's going to be. Yeah. So at least you can just take in what's happening. Yeah.
Absolutely. So number 10 is rehearse as much as you possibly can. So there you go. Our top 10. That's a tongue twister. Our top 10 tips.
Top 10 tips.
Top 10 tips. You've planned your wedding, your day has arrived, now you've just got to get married. So we've decided for the next video in this wedding series, we are going to do on the day tips next. So tune in next week, and if you would be so kind as to like and subscribe, we would hugely appreciate it. But thank you so much, and we'll see you next week.
Next week? Ooh, we've actually got the new one.
Yeah.
Did we just film it out?